Hey there, hi there, ho there, good morning, rise and shine. This is Drones at Dawn with Dawn Zoldi, your hostess with the mostest, working with InterDrone to bring you some great content. And today we are so fortunate to have with us someone you probably already know and love, Jason Souci. He's got two podcasts because two is better than one. He's got the, Jason, help me out. You've got the Secrets of the Innovator that you just had me on last week.
Yep.
And Do You Know Drones, right?
Yes.
Those are your two. Amazing. And again, for everybody out there, this is a live broadcast. So please jump in the chat, engage with us, ask your questions. This is going to be great. Last week, we closed out our movers and shakers. Jason, of course, is a mover and shaker, but we're transitioning into a month of diversity, equity, inclusion. And some of you may be thinking, what does that have to do with the commercial drone industry? And what I would say is it has to do everything with the commercial drone industry, because diversity, research shows, elevates your business. And if you want to have a better bottom line, you want to have a diverse workforce. And the workforce development is something that's near and dear to our hearts. So let's just jump right in. Jason, welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you. Dawn, this is going to be so much fun. I've been looking forward to this all week. It was fantastic. So just a little bit about me then. Wow, man. So we both went to the academy, and rocket science I decided was a little too boring. So I jumped over to remote sensing and started ran a remote sensing company for a little while down in Colorado Springs. That was super fun. Got to work with Jane Goodall Institute and kind of do things all over the world. It was super fun. Just really awesome working with another interesting diversity and inclusion group, Native American tribes. We're working with tribes to help them better manage their natural resources using satellite imagery. So it was super duper cool. Did that for about 7 years, then jumped back over into the defense and intelligence space as a hyperspectral imaging analyst for U.S. Army SMDC RSTRAT in a really cool advanced geospatial intelligence node. Got the ability to, I was in Afghanistan for 3 years as a intelligence subject matter expert. Super fun. That was a cool job. I needed to leave because I had a young family and they were tired of me being gone. So I came back, and it was the drone industry that picked me up, and started with Precision Hawk as their first remote sensing scientist, helping develop their products, primarily ag, but then it just kept growing, and we know where they are today. Came back to Colorado because I missed home, and I was so happy to be here. So now I've done so much. It's been fun. This industry has been super fun. Working primarily to sort of help enterprises better roll in drone technology into everything that they're doing. If there's a vertical market, I've probably played with it. Every sort of modality of remote sensing at every altitude, played with all of it. And I don't know. I just feel like I get to play with all these fun toys and teach people along the way. And that's kind of where I am today.
Well, that's a great segue, actually, because, you're very much involved in education and you're passionate about that. And so let's talk a little bit about Neurodiversity Works and the work you're doing there, because when people think about diversity, I think they normally, their brain goes to, especially trained lawyers like me, their brain goes to those protected classes, right? Those under equal protection, gender, race, protected classes and categories. But diversity is so much broader than that. Explain to us what neurodiversity means.
Sure thing. So neurodiversity is one of those invisible diversities. It's right up there with sexual. You can't see it for the most part. It's like sexuality and religion, and like neurodiversity is more around like the way our brain works. It's different. And it's commonly sort of, executive functioning, and it's just how the human brain works, like sociability, learning, attention, mood. It's like an intellectual and developmental disability. March is actually National Developmental Disability Month. So it's really good we're having this conversation today. What's interesting about it is like people refer to it commonly autism, ADD, Asperger's, ADHD, dyslexia, dysgraphia. There's a bunch of other neurodivergent populations that are out there. And we think that is just a little quick bit of the story is I didn't even know the term neurodiversity about 2 years ago, but I'm marrying a mother of a neurodiverse son, and he has autism and also a genetic deletion, but he's wonderful. He's absolutely wonderful, and I didn't realize a whole lot about what was going on in the space, but I learned that there was a big gap in the transition space. And transition, essentially, what that is between the age, like right around 22-ish in most states, they kind of they literally fall off a cliff. And there's no more programs, no more funding, no more anything. And it's like, all right, we've had you for this long. You're on your own. And so that kind of spawned a bunch of things that I thought was just terrifying. It was like, all right, well, so now there's like a 85 under in unemployment rate, 5x suicide rate. It's just, those are negative things. So then there's more positive about it. The positive about it is that they're smart. They may be different. We're all different, but they're smart and they're focused. And like Blake, who's my soon to be stepson, I guess. He will track things 24/7, 365. He loves it. He will be the best logistician in the world. And it is just amazing what he knows. Like I think he learned airport codes before he learned to do anything else. Like it was just amazing. So,
wow.
Yeah. There's an opportunity, and I know we'll probably get here. So I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. I'm going to stop there. I bet you probably have another question, but
yeah, I wanted to jump in there because I think, like you, Jason, I never heard that term neurodiversity, frankly, until you and I talked a couple weeks ago as we were thinking about this podcast. And you said, oh, by the way, I have this. And I was just like, well, there's a fit. We're doing a diversity month. And what even is this? And so I think a lot of people that don't know what neurodiversity is assume that neurodiverse individuals are somehow, let's say without ability or, have a disability, right? And so, but we both know that it's actually quite the opposite in many, many cases. So can you explain that a little bit further?
Absolutely. So I would say that this community views themselves, they have superpower. And more companies are starting to realize that. More and more programs are starting to realize that this is a superpower, that if you can tap into their area of interest or area of perseverance, if you can tap into that, that is their jam. And like they are the most loyal, the most focused employees out there, and they constantly outperform IBM, Ernst & Young. All these companies have done studies. Now they've been, multiple years that their programs, this isn't a charity case. Like this is a competitive advantage for them. If everyone in the world is thinking differently, it's like, we need to think differently. We need to think differently. You hear it every meeting you go to, strategy session. Go to the people, the population that actually does think differently. It's something switches in your head. It's like, wow, yeah. What a great idea. Let's talk to them. And they may need accommodations and things and to be sort of, they don't interview the same. They need like, they're sensitive to different things. And like, but none of those things are a disability. It's just the way that we look at it. Like if we just look at it a little bit differently, this is a population that should be ridiculously sought after. And I'll tell you just a quick story. It was very interesting. Just a very quick story. So I did a workshop here in Denver for teaching autism community trades, or TACT. And it was really fascinating that there was a student that came up. We were just flying a drone around a utility pole and took the sticks, and very silent, very, very mild mannered, and like took the sticks and just nailed it. Literally told him nothing and just crushed it right out of the gate. And I talked to his mom afterwards, and he was the mother was like, hey, this is the first thing that he's been interested in at all. We could not find a thing that he was into. We tried this and this and this and this and this. He's engaged. I've never seen him like this. She got a little emotional. I was like, whoa, I think we're on to something here. This is really cool. So I just want to share that story because that's only one. Like this is fun.
I love that story. And, we had Kyle Sanders on last week from Drone Soccer, and I know the two of you are now talking base. Just imagine adding the superpowers to drone soccer and introducing a number of these kids through drone soccer to STEM, and some of these things would be absolutely amazing. So tell us, what exactly is Neurodiversity Works?
So we are a 501c3 based here in Colorado. Our mission is to prepare neurodiverse students for careers in the drone industry. And that could be extremely broad, not just drone pilots, analysts, logistician, drone racers, management, project management. There's so much that the drone industry touches that it's beyond just pilots. There's everything that's behind it, everything that supports every industry that it's being integrated in. We eventually want to start touching all of it. So rolling things like US drone soccer and actual getting out in the field with commercial drone operation crews, survey teams. Just like we want to develop a program of support, basically a pod around these students. And the pod includes a mentor, it includes us, it includes an employer, and it also includes as much support as we can. If they're in school, a guidance counselor, parents, all of it supports this pod around this student that starts to integrate through workshops, immersion, training, internships, obviously leading towards, at the end of the day, we want to lead towards employment. So we want to develop and utilize, there's so many programs out there that are doing great as far as training. We want to partner with them. We want to work with them to sort of enrich the experience for the students. But overall, we're trying to get them employed, like give them an opportunity to explore their creativity, to explore who they are, to kind of discover this new industry that's going exponential. Like really just want to give them an opportunity to just learn and see what works for them and support them every step along the way in any way that we can.
Well, what a noble mission. And, we were talking before we went live about the talk I did at Duke Law this weekend. I interviewed Dr. Missy Cummings, and we were talking about artificial intelligence and autonomous vehicles. And her bottom line was, the DoD is falling behind because they just don't have the experience in the workforce, right, to do this work. And at the end of the day, it comes down to education and it comes down to workforce development. And that's exactly what you're doing. So I love that. So you mentioned training, you mentioned mentoring program, you mentioned community connections with schools. How exactly does it work? How do you connect people to make all this happen?
So we started with so many phone calls, so many emails, and started connect right here locally. We realized there was a bunch of programs that Nicole Quarter, who's our co-founder, and my fiance, she knew so well. So we just seamlessly sort of started to have these conversations and just mentioned what we're trying to do. And they're like, great, send us some material. We have students right now that'll be ready for this. So it started fast and furious. So we started working with Denver Public Schools, and we started working with Adams County, and started working with TACT. And it's starting to grow organically. And honestly, I'm pumping the brakes on it a little bit because it feels like we're still missing some pieces to make it work. But I'm more than comfortable working in the drone industry. Building the plane as we're flying it is just what we do. So it's been fun doing that and pivoting and learning along the way, and sort of an agile development method. The students will come up with a lot of the ideas, and we just roll with it. We're like, absolutely, that's a wonderful idea. Let's do that. And so we just started working with a couple different dedicated groups of students that have their own pods, and they're working in a few different, their goal right now is to get their Part 107 and to start interning and working with companies here in the local area. And yeah, so we're working towards that goal, but we're also working on like field trips, and everything's virtual right now, obviously COVID-19. But it allows us to sort of set a pace where we can really dive into some subjects, like track them along the educational process, like our learning management system that we use, showcases like where they are, where they're getting stuck, how we can support them, how we can add more emphasis on a specific topic if they're struggling with it, or just add more variety to it. Just, I love telling stories, and like just applying a story to what they're actually learning about helps, right? Storytelling is important and very powerful. So that's kind of what we're doing right now. We're constantly looking for mentors. We're constantly looking for all of these things. It's funny, like funding's not really a thing that we're looking for. Sure, it'll come along eventually, but like right now it's just time and program development. And just getting more people involved is kind of where we are today.
Well, you mentioned these internships, and it's, and you mentioned money, and it's interesting to me that, why would a company ever turn away free help? I mean, it's a rhetorical question, but, if you've got someone passionate about the work that your company is doing, and you can take them on as a free volunteer for X amount of time, no obligations, see how it works out. Why would you not do that? I know when I was the staff judge advocate, I'll give you a perfect example. I was at Bolling Air Force Base, and the JAG Corps, which I was a part of, had a very official internship program. They became GS9s and blah, blah, blah. Well, I had a lot of people just reaching out to me like, hey, can I just come and work for the summer for free for you? And I was like, heck yeah. One summer I had 6 different, and they happened to all be women, just worked out that way. 6 different women volunteering for me. One actually was in college. She wasn't even in law school, and she went to Brown, and she was like brilliant. And just the perspective she brought, because she wasn't even trained in any way in the law, was super. And so anyway, I throw that out there for the companies that are watching, people that are watching. Jason's website is up here. Tap into his program. Why not? What do you have to lose? And if anything, you have so much to gain. So you mentioned your soon-to-be son. Was he the inspiration, or your soon-to-be your fiance for this organization, or was something broader than that? What inspired you to create this organization, Jason?
That's certainly where it started. And just seeing the frustration. And having more and more conversations with parents and with people that are working with this community, and just hearing the frustration and seeing it, because there's a lot of video calls and it's worldwide, and just there aren't enough programs. There just aren't. So I figured, like, this is an easy no-brainer. Just give a very simple program to just provide a pathway. So that's pretty easy. I think that can just lend experience where we can, and lend my experience. Like, look, man, I want to start giving back, and I love sharing stories. I love teaching. I love, like, this is fun, like learning more about what lights my fire. And I'm very excited about all this. So I mean, podcasts and this and that, like it's all about giving back. It's about compressing years of experience into, a half hour. Like I find that challenge just fun. Like, it's just super fun to do. And I love connecting with the students and explaining topics to them. And so it started with like a frustration from parents that there just aren't programs. There aren't enough programs out there that deal with this diversity, that are diverse enough to deal with this diversity in more different areas. So it's not just about STEM. It's not just about computer programming. Like Nicole's a creative director. Like she runs a magazine. Like it's just about giving more opportunities and plugging people in and providing just another resource. Every little resource is multiplicative with this community. So that's exactly what we want to do. I found the support amongst this community to be just amazing. Everyone wants to help everyone, and there's really no competition. There is a competition. It's just, we need to support. Here's what we're doing. Tell me what you're doing. Let's see how we can support, roll it in, get the word out, whatever we need to do. It's a whatever we need to do kind of all hands on deck type of approach. And it's amazing.
Well, we talked about the businesses maybe providing some internship opportunities and then benefiting that way themselves. What about individuals? The mentorship program that you mentioned, is that where an individual that's maybe even very outside of this community, but just wants to give back in some way, wants to volunteer, can plug in? And if so, how do they do that?
Absolutely. So on the website, neurodiversity-works.org, there is a mentor sign up. And that mentor sign up, just basically, how much time are you available? What's your specialty? some contact information. We're not going to spam you. We're just adding you to a database, and eventually a next step, and this is still under development. Like I said, this is all new. We're going to start to develop a mentor training program. Like, we want to give back to the mentors so they better understand this community. And so to match up with the right students. And we do see this as being a one-on-one, but we want to rotate through and maybe do small groups. The possibilities are endless here, but that is the best way that we see getting involved. Mentors just lead the way. Like, a lot of programs, and I've done some research, a lot of programs that have been doing this type of support for a long time, they've excluded mentors, and not for any particular reason. They just haven't rolled them into the program. And there's just mentorship in that program. Like, it just goes together. Like, I didn't see this without mentors. Like, I can't be everywhere at once, and nor am I trying to be the only influence. I want multiple influences, multiple points of contact. It is about what you know. It's all about what you know and who knows you. Like, I want to make sure that these students in this program feel supported from a wide variety of folks. And that just, it decreases their social isolation. Wow, that's a fun one. Which is huge right now. And that's just one of the main goals that we have. When we have a lot of different outcome-based goals that we're working towards. And our program, as we're developing it, every little piece and part just supports that. But we want to make sure it's bi-directional, that the mentors are getting things out of it. They're getting educated about this community and getting rolled into it. And that the mentees, the students, they're getting so much from the mentors. So that's really where you can help out the most.
Well, just like everything, the FAA talks about crawl, walk, run. Clearly you're still in the crawl phase, and you're crawling in a perfect state, to be honest with you, right? So we're both here in Colorado, Aerospace Alley, and very much looking forward to being live with you at the Wings Over the Rockies Museum, where we're probably gonna be sitting side by side talking about our various organizations and contacts at a Women in Aviation event. So looking forward to that. But beyond Colorado, this is, now we're talking vision here, right? Your grand vision. What is your vision for this program, for this organization going forward? What is your ultimate end game? What would you love to see happen, maybe even globally?
We want to reach as many students as possible. And we want to do that globally. We're building the program specifically around online technologies, Zoom meetings and learning management systems. All of these things are all online, so they're scalable worldwide. And that's how we want to do it. And then we want to plug them in. So the one piece that is not a complication, if I'm being honest, is finding more mentors and employers around the world that want to plug these students into their programs in one way or another, and providing that education piece. There are so many. I was shocked at the number of companies that are advising corporations on how to better work with this community. I'm just going to plug right in right behind them and just follow in their wake. They're bulldozing through. And I'm like, all right, well, now I've got these students right here. There you go. I'm doing little flight hands. I was not a fighter pilot. But like, that's where we want to be. And there's so many different avenues out there. And I've seen them all, but I want to make sure that the program we're building here is solid. We get good feedback. We go through a few iterations. And really we're able to plug these students in here locally. And once that works, I'm not rolling out to the next state. We're just going to start rolling it out everywhere, because there's requests all from coast to coast already. And I actually have a few mentors from coast to coast, which I'm very grateful for, but I don't have students there yet. So it's not chicken and the egg. It is, I don't even know what it is, but I think it has great legs, huge possibilities. And really, like I said, it's all about the students. Like, we want to just give them and support them with an advanced sort of elite program that prepares them for this industry and just let them shine. So yeah, I want to take this worldwide. Like, my goal for 2021 is to have 100 students just here in Colorado.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, and like I said, conversely, this industry, this drone ecosystem needs an educated workforce. And especially as things literally start taking off, and I feel like this year is going to be a big year. I think next year will be even bigger. The fact that you're preparing kids to do this, young adults, to do this work is so important. So thank you for what you're doing. We're getting short on time. And I saw that they dropped in the chat here a way to plug into your organization for the mentorship and other internship opportunities and things of that nature. So let me just ask you this 30-second elevator speech. What do you want to leave people with today? What do you want them to know as they walk away from this podcast? The big thing that they need to know.
That there is a population that think differently, that honestly, that I didn't even know about that. But now that I know about them, I can't ignore it. Like, it's something that, like, even within me, I connect with them on a completely different level, because I'm probably a little nervous too. Shocker. That being said, I want everyone that's listening to know that neurodiversity is a superpower. It's not a disability. It is a superpower. And leveraging that for your organization will take you to higher heights and will also open up so many opportunities. What's fun, just one quick thing is,
absolutely,
these internships, they don't have to be free, and nor do you have to pay them. There are state and nationwide programs that will pay these internships, these interns, a wage as part of these career, CTE programs, ACE Connect programs. They'll pay the student. You don't even have to worry about it. You just provide a home, and they'll rotate them through. So, like, you don't have to worry about that. Like I said, this is not about money. Like, this is not a money grab. This is nothing. Like, this is just about supporting the student. I'm not putting fundraising first. I'm putting the student first, because that's what's important. Fundraising will come later. But right now, it's just organic. Get the word out there, see how we can help, and start building it as we're flying it, and just have a lot of fun along the way.
No, that's awesome. You used an acronym, so I can't end on that. But I have to ask you, because people in education know what CTE is, but other people may not. So can you explain what that is?
Yeah, sure. So CTE, Career Technical Education, it's really workforce development, and they start it in middle schools, high schools. It's really about focusing on that thing, right? Because we all got educated to go do something. Well, now they're making it more actionable in schools about developing these actual workforce development programs while they are still in school. And a lot of it's just exploration, but it also encompasses internships and specialized training, even mentorships and programs like us. So CTE it's a big deal. And I mean, I wish we had it when we were kids, but it's definitely something that is new and hot right now. And it's a great partnership that you can get involved with all schools.
Yeah. And so to end on that high note, right, there's money for CTE. And to if I was going to summarize your talk here today, it's neurodiversity is a superpower. So what a great tagline. That totally needs to go on your website. There is a message, I think. Let's see. Hold one. I'm blind. Can you see it, Jason, in the chat?
I cannot. Let me see. I don't have it I just see call out Scott's message.
Yeah. Oh boy. I'm sorry. I am having a hard time seeing today. It's my superpower is not my sight right now. So
here we go. Yeah, no, Scott, no, absolutely. You work closely with neurodiverse individuals in the space, provide a wealth of knowledge and skills where most people would not be able to see it. Absolutely.
So if this is our buddy Scott Schofman out of Texas, certified and trained pilot, drone pilot, and a lawyer. Thank you, Scott, and definitely you need to be connecting with Jason on this and help him spread the word. So thank you for your comment there. All right, it is time to wrap up. Thank you, Jason. That was amazing. I learned a ton. Neurodiversity is a superpower. Plug into Jason's efforts. And next week, continuing with our diversity, equity, and inclusion theme, I'm going to have Wendy Erickson. She is the marketing and digital manager for Women in Drones. And in fact, March 8th is International Women's Day. And hopefully, fingers crossed, will be the official kickoff of the 5th anniversary Women to Watch in UAS Global Awards program. So we're going to talk about that, women in drones, how you can plug in, and we're going to focus on women in the industry next week. So please, please, please join us. And join my Patreon community. We'll have some bonus footage of Jason giving his deep thoughts on life. And that Patreon will come up after this is over. Thank you again, InterDrone, for having me as your host. And I think that's all she wrote. So thanks and have a great week, everybody out here.